Hey guys, I quickly wanted to do an impromptu, completely unscripted review of the Bigscreen Beyond 2E, but one of the reasons why I wanted to do it is because a lot of reviewers that are out there are missing important information for VRChat specifically, and I will go over that. So first off, the lenses. They are a big improvement of the previous version. There's basically no bloom, no god rays. It looks fantastic. Secondly, the sweet spot is now massive. A big problem that the previous headset had, while I just adjust it, is that in order to actually look at something, you have to turn your whole head and focus straight at it. It had to be in the very center of your screen. But this version, I can see at my peripheral vision absolutely fine. If I just look around, I can see over there just fine. So, and as you can see, the eye tracking is working, but I'll go over that in a minute. But that is a massive improvement. That was one of the biggest gripes that I sort of had with the Bigscreen Beyond, the original one. Now, also, it is compatible with the previous audio strap and cable. You just plug it in and it will just work. There's no messing around with that. Now, when it comes to the new features, so there's a few problems. You may have noticed it already. But whenever I blink, I go cross-eyed slightly. My eyes tend to go all over the place. And that's because it's losing tracking of my eyes. Normally, what would happen is when you close your eyes, the headset itself and the client that it's using would send the OSC data to the VRChat client that your eyelids are closing. But this isn't tracking those values. It's only tracking where you're looking, the XY values. Now, this is because it's still in beta. So, it's a bit weird because the product has released as it's production ready. This isn't like a prototype. It's ready to go. But the software is still in beta for it, which is a bit rubbish, really. But the eye tracking is working. But it's just as you blink, it's gonna wobble. And that can be noticed by other people. Last night I was in VRChat testing this out and someone pointed it out to me that my eyes are wobbling. And I didn't know why. Well, I couldn't see it. But of course I couldn't see it because whenever I blinked I can't see. I'm not looking in the mirror when I've got my eyes closed. So I couldn't see it. It was only until I recorded myself that I was able to actually see that there was a problem. Now also, as I've just mentioned, this headset uses OSC eye tracking. It's not native eye tracking. So your avatar has to actually be set up to expose those values so OSC can, work with them. Not all avatars are use OSC eye tracking. Pretty much all the big popular ones do, but not quite all of them. So you need to keep that in mind. If your avatar is missing the OSC eye tracking, you'll have to set it up yourself or pay someone else to do it or whatever. But it's not particularly complicated from what I've heard. It takes about 30 minutes if you know what you're doing, or probably even less. So yeah, it uses OSC eye tracking. When you blink, it tends to wobble. I apologize for that. That's my work laptop. It's open this morning. So what else is there? There was one other thing. Yeah, that's it. So setting up the actual eye tracking itself is a bit of a confusing process. So you don't get access to the actual eye tracking right away. You don't put it on and bam, it's working. No. You actually have to opt into their beta program, the Bigscreen Beyond's eye tracking beta program, in order for it to work currently. To get into it, you need a key. And you can get that key by emailing their support like I did. I emailed them and then the same day they sent me a key. Or you can opt into something somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is. But you opt into the beta program and then they will send you a key, but they'll send those out in batches. I emailed them directly and got one straight away. But it might not be the same for everyone depending on which way you want to go. You then take that key and you put it in the Bigscreen Beyond utility in the eye tracking module. And then it will then let you set up eye tracking. To set up eye tracking, it's a bit of a confusing process. You have to stare at a dot on the screen and then turn your head whilst still looking at said dot and look up and down and then you have to like keep it on the edge of your vision while still keeping eye contact with this dot. Once you've done that, it basically creates like it's not a large language model, but it's like an AI like model of some kind. You basically just trained it on your own computer, but then it sends off the data that it's just captured to Bigscreen Beyond servers. It then processes it and then sends the model back ready to use. And then you've got like a little drop down that when you select which model you want to use at that point. I think it's quite nice that each one is trained specifically for your eyes. That's nice, because I can see it solving a lot of problems, because everyone's different. Everyone has different eye shapes and things like that. So that's nice. But yeah, those three things are something that should be kept in mind. Yeah, OSC eye tracking needs to be enabled. You need to opt into the beta program to get access to it. And currently when you blink, your eyes wobble. Those are the three things that you should be know about right now. They have said that they are going to be fixing this by adding blinking and stuff, but that's on their roadmap. They've said, and I quote, in a few weeks or months, whatever that means. So how long's a piece of string? But going from no eye tracking to this is pretty nice, because you do communicate with your eyes. You know, if you're feeling anxious, you might look down, look away. If you're feeling like really engaged or perhaps aggressive, you'll stare right at someone. You know, you communicate with them, and having that sort of natural feeling is something that I've always wanted in VRChat. Now, also, not that it was ever advertised as a headset that does face tracking. This doesn't do face tracking, this headset, if that wasn't obvious. And that includes your eyebrows, because it sits on your eyebrows. So it's not going to be able to track that, at least not currently. Maybe somehow they add it in the future, but I don't see how they would. But the face tracking, this headset does not do it. I've ordered a Project Babel extension that you plug onto the front of the headset, which then can be used for face tracking, and I've commissioned someone to set up the visemes and blend shapes for my avatar so it will work. Now, if you're going to do that, like a lot of people I know are, there's a little gotcha, and that is the USB-C socket that's for the audio strap. You're supposed to plug it into that, but obviously it's only one socket and you've got to share it with the audio strap. And now one way you can do that is by getting a USB-C hub. But this socket on the side of the headset is only 500 milliamps. If you plug two devices into it, there's a good chance that they're not going to be very stable. So what I'm going to do, from what I've been reading other people have done, they've just got a long USB-C cable and just like stuck it to the side of the actual Bigscreen Beyond cable and just plugged it into that, and then that cable goes all the way back to your PC. So the Babel has its own separate cable just going to a USB socket on your computer. And the headset doesn't give a damn where it's plugged into, as long as it's getting the data. So it doesn't matter that it's not plugged into the headset itself. It can be plugged into your PC and it will work just fine. But yeah, that's another little gotcha that I've had to sort of look into. But yeah, so far I'm happy with it. Just, it's not perfect. Hopefully this eye tracking, the eye blinking thing gets fixed soon. But yeah. Anyway, until then, I'll see you guys later. Also, I should have a new video out by the end of this week. Just a little short that's related to eye tracking, which should be quite funny. But yeah, I'll see you all later. Bye bye.